What is up guys, Scarp80 here, and today I'm bringing you guys a Legend of Zelda video. In this video we're going to talk about horses. I'm going to show you everything and anything you need to know about them. Anything from catching them, to training them, to how to get a saddle. All that stuff will be shown in this video, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so first let's talk about catching a horse. And the first thing you need to do is you need to find a horse. So there are two types of horses in this game. Or at least there are two sort of categories, I guess you could call it. So there's one colored horses and two colored horses. So as we can see, these are both two colored horses, whereas that one is a one colored horse. So one colored horses are more difficult to catch, but they are stronger and faster in most cases. Two colored horses are more difficult to catch, are easier to catch, but they are a bit less fast. So the ones that have a dotted or spotted butt are the easiest to catch, which would be that one in this case. Second easiest would be these, which are two colored but don't have a spotted butt. And then the least are the one colored horses, which are right there. So I'm going to show you what you need to do to catch a horse and show you what happens when you try and catch the hardest to catch and the easiest to catch of those horses. So the first thing you need to do is you need to sneak up behind them, and you need to have patience with, oh come on. So you see, this is what may happen sometimes, so you need to have patience with these horses sometimes, and because they will get scared very easily. So again, you need to sneak up behind him, and if he sees you if it sees you when you're pretty close to them, then there's a very good chance that he might kick you. And of course, one colored horses are not only harder to catch, but they're also harder to sneak up to. As you can see, those two horses have noticed my presence, but the dotted butt one has not. So if I sneak up behind him and mount him, then I automatically get on him and have no resistance at all. But spotted horses are also easier to train, I believe. So that's something you need to keep in mind, especially if you're just starting this game. It's a good idea to maybe try out using a butt spotted horse first before you try and get a more aggressive horse. So again, we're gonna try with another horse and see what happens then. So as we're sneaking up, it's very important that you crouch, because it's a much higher chance that you will not be spotted. But even so, as you can see, he spotted me, and if that would have been the butt spotted horse, or maybe even the other horse, I would not have been seen. So you have to be really, really patient and careful until you will be able to finally catch him. Eating foods or drinking elixirs that give you a sneak effect will help when you're trying to catch a horse. And maybe, I'm not so sure, but it's something that I decided to try right now. Your clothes or your armor does have an effect on the noise you make. So maybe using a more quiet armor will help. It's something I'm trying right now, and we'll see how it goes. Horses will normally stay in packs of at least 4, so there's a pretty good chance you can get at least one of those 4 if you're pretty careful. However, if one of those horses starts running, there's a really good chance that the rest of them will also start running, even if only one of those horses has spotted you. If you're trying to catch a specific horse, a good idea would be to try and separate the pack. That way, the horse will only run away if he sees you. However, horses will be inclined to get back to their pack, so you do have to keep that in mind. Once you actually get on a horse, you have to spam L and hope that the horse will stop buckering, I think they call it, and you will be able to keep the horse if that is the case. If not, then you will need to try again, over and over again, until you are able to successfully catch the horse. The more stamina you have, the longer you'll be able to spam the L button. However, what I thought when I first started to catch horses is that if I press the L button, then my stamina would go down, but that's not the case. Your stamina goes down over a certain period of time. After you have caught a horse, it's a really good idea to go and register it into a stable right away. So if you're looking to catch a horse, make sure there's a stable nearby. That way you won't have to do difficult maneuvering and waste lots of good and precious time. Here are the stables that I have found that are close to where you start in the game. Alright, so the first couple of stables that I found when I was starting in the game are, first of all, this one, we're just called the Riverside Stable. It's not the best stable, and it's not the one that's going to have the most amount of horses. My favorite one so far that I have found is the Dueling Peaks Stable. That's the one where I found that has the most horses because it has a lot of land next to it, and it's the best place to start catching horses. And also there are a couple of shrines near it that will be useful if you want to teleport there often. The other one that I found so far is this one called the Outskirts Stable, which is to the left of where you start, which is this Hyrule area. And so that's also a good one to keep in mind if you're close to that area. So when you go into a stable, you want to talk to this guy right here that's going to be right outside the booth. And he's going to ask you, if you're on a new horse, if you would like to register. You're going to press yes please, and of course it's gonna be 20 rupees to be able to register the horse. And as you can see, there's a couple of things that we can see right here: strength, speed, stamina, and temperament. So the strength obviously will vary between each horse, and that's the same with speed and stamina. However, one-colored horses are more likely to have more speed, stamina, and strength. Strength I've found is a bit more random, but yeah, one-colored horses will give you more of an average, stronger, faster horse. So after you register your horse, you can actually name the horse, and it'll give you a saddle and a bridle for your horse. Also, this will allow you to access your horse from any stable, so your horse can kind of teleport from any stable no matter where you are. So as you can see right here, it's asking me to enter a name for my horse, and it will do the same for you. That way you can actually develop a better bond with your horse and distinguish it if you have more than one horse, which is true in my case. So just a random name, I've named my horse Jay, and then once you name your horse, it's going to ask you a second time if this is the name you want. I'm going to press yes. My registration is complete, and it's going to ask me if I want to take my new horse with me, so I will. And as you can see now, I have this saddle. So if you didn't notice, a couple seconds ago it said that the bond between me and my horse is 0. That's because I have barely ridden my horse, and I definitely have not trained them. There are a couple of things that can improve your bond with your horse. The first thing is you can train it, which is a very good thing, and it's pretty easy to do. And the second thing that I found I can do is I can feed it a couple of apples. So you just hold it towards the horse's mouth, and it'll eat the apple, and those pink things will show that the bond between you and your horse is improving. So I'm going to mount my horse, and then we're going to train it by just riding around. And the key thing is, you need to press the L button, which is the soothe button, when your horse obeys. So if you're going forward and your horse suddenly goes right, once you correct it and it starts going forward again, that's when you want to press L, so that it knows that what he or it or she is doing is correct. So when you get the pink, that means that it's working well and that you are successfully improving the bond between you and your horse. And the better the bond, of course, the better that the horse will obey to your commands. Horses can also be useful for when you're trying to catch something. So if you're running after a goat, the horse will be able to catch up with it, especially if you press A again when you're in this speed. You can go even faster, but just for a little bit, and then you can successfully shoot or hit the target, whatever you're trying to target. So what you do is you board a horse when you don't want to use it anymore. It's going to ask you if you want to board J, and then it's going to say that they're going to take J into their hands. So I have 3 horses right now, Oak, Pete, and Jay. So Oak was my first horse. It has a 1 strength, 3 speed, and stamina 4. And the stamina is those things that you can press when you're at max speed to just like go for a quick sprint. So as you can see, my bond is at the maximum. Then I have Pete, which is my best horse, but for some reason I haven't bonded with him that well, probably because I use Oak the most. So it has 4 strength, 3 speed, and 4 stamina. And then we have Jay, which with just like 2 minutes, his bond has improved to 36. And of course, giving him apples and feeding him and taking him out for rides is going to improve that bond. And the better the bond, the more he's going to obey your commands. Another thing that you can do with your horse is calling it by pressing the down button on your left Joy-Con if you're using the Nintendo Switch. And that will call the horse to you, and you can see it on your map as well. And this does work well for long distances, except if you're separated by something like a mountain or a cliff or something, or if not, then you will get a little bar at the top of your screen that says the name of your horse, and then it'll say that isn't able to come. So yeah, for example, right now I'm going to register it, or just leave Pete at this stable, and they are going to take him in. And now I'm going to show you that I can indeed take him out through another stable. At the Riverside stable, it's always a different dude, I think, Ember. And I'm gonna take out a horse right now, and I'm gonna take out, for example, Peach, which is the one that I had out there. So it's gonna give me my horse, and you can do this with any stables. As long as your horse is in a stable, then you will be able to take out a horse. Alright, so while I am standing near these horses' butts, spotted butts or dotted butts, I'm going to tell you about horses' armor. And yes, you can indeed put armor on your horses. However, it will not really affect the horse at all, except on its look. So it will not give him more stamina, it will not give him more strength or more speed, at least at the point in which the game is right now. I'm not sure if the developers will change that in the future, but that's just what it is right now. But yeah, it's a good way to customize its appearance, and there are several places where horse gear is located. You do have to find it. I'm not sure if you can buy it, but people have said on the interwebs that they are pretty hard to find. So I mean, if you're trying to find it, then you might have to like look up their locations, and if not, you might stumble upon one of them or something. But yeah, I think that wraps up the video. In this video, I showed you practically everything you need to know about a horse, especially as of now in the game, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That will help me out a lot as I'm trying to grow my channel right now. Also, check out my other videos, which are on the screen now. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. More Nintendo Switch content coming up. Once again, Scarp80 out.